Today I have the pleasure to be with Philip Van Damme, who was recently appointed Deputy Director General for Digital Services at the European Commission, after a career of more than 20 years in IT at the European Commission. Hello, Philippe.
Hello.
Philippe, you believe it is crucial to bring scientific knowledge and technologies together into EU policy making. But looking back at this and at your career of more than 20 years, how have you seen the impact of data and technology evolving during your career?
Quite a lot, actually. I started my career in the Belgian Senate, and I was literally responsible for digitalization, literally because there were no computers even there. So I had to build the first systems to do the follow-up of the legislative procedures and treatment of parliamentary documents. And also in the Commission, I then became responsible for HR systems and systems for social security of European officials and pensioners. And what I've seen in all those years is that in the beginning of my career, I was actually more building systems of records, systems to capture data, to collect data. And over the years, I've seen this evolving in more attention to what can we actually do with this data? How can we get value out of the data? How can we use the data that we already have or that is available out there to shape decisions? And I think that is a major change that I've seen. On technology, actually, because that's the second part of your question, there I have to say that I have seen actually very little fundamental change. And that might be surprising in 30 years of career. But if I look back, all the technologies that we see today, in one way or another, they were already there 30 years ago. They have, in the meantime, they have exponentially grown, they have become interconnected, they have improved a lot, they have matured a lot, and even become true game changers. But just to give you a few examples, AI, for instance, when I was at university at the beginning of the 90s, well, we had courses on neural networks, and they are the foundation of large language models today. In the 90s, I had my mobile phone, I had a PDA, a Psion with my electronic agenda. Today, I have my iPhone. So, of course, this technology has matured, but has it fundamentally changed? Not really. And I actually believe that if we look at what's important for the future, maybe in 30 years from now, probably the technologies that will be important game changers for the future, they are already here today, one way or another. Maybe quantum computing is something like that, we'll see.
Interesting, thank you. And how do you see this evolution impacting EU policy making in the coming years?
So, digital has actually gone from reactive, that was those systems of reference that I was talking about, to more proactive. It has also become more pervasive. It's becoming the norm. And that's where actually the link is for me with policy making. What you see, for instance, you could think if you look at the last 20 years in Europe that we are running from crisis to crisis. Financial crisis, refugees, Brexit, pandemic, war, inflation. On top of that, you have the structural challenges like climate change, social cohesion, sustainable economic growth. So we have been reacting always to that in Europe. And maybe it's time to become a bit more proactive to that. And that's where, for me, the policy making and the digital transformation, they meet each other. Because what citizens and member states are expecting is that we are actually sort of addressing those challenges not too late, but before they happen, that we anticipate. And with digital transformation, that is precisely as well what we are trying to achieve within the Commission. It's to make the services more collaborative, that they are actually aligning the policies, that those policies are data-driven, that they are more agile, that they are resilient, and that they are indeed anticipating to change. So that's for me where the two meet.
And what would you like the Directorate General for Digital Services to do in this context? Which challenges do you expect for Digit?
So recently we changed names. In the past we were DG Informatics. Today we are DG Digital Services. Now that seems a cosmetic difference, but it's more profound because the old name was reflecting the role that we had as CIO of the European Commission. Now, the new name is actually more projecting Digit in the role of Chief Digital Officer, where we have to anticipate more on what digital can bring to policy and implement this in the policy implementation, actually. So that is quite a difference, and the Interoperability Act is actually the real game changer here, because it gives now formally Digit a mandate to actually look into these policies before they are going to Parliament and to the Council for adoption. But we can actually now, from the start, embed this digital dimension, make sure that interoperable aspects are considered, and at the same time also have a coordinating role with the member states on that. And that's really fundamentally different. Now, that said, we also keep our role on IT, and we still have a lot of homework there as well, because if we want to keep up with the challenges of Europe anticipate, we also have to make sure that as an IT department, we are not stuck in legacy and become a blocker for digital transformation, but that we become really the enabler for the digital transformation. And that requires not just talking about the digital transformation of the institution, but also the transformation of IT in the Commission itself, so that we can deliver faster, more agile, that we actually have the resilience in a more hostile cyber environment as well. And that's quite a challenge to combine those two.
Yeah, I can imagine that those two roles are becoming really important indeed, and will change fundamentally the way Digit provides services to the Commission and to the Member States.
Indeed.
As a partner of choice for digital transformation. How important is semantic interoperability to support EU policy making, but also to support the new role of Digit in the future, and in order to build a Europe that is digitally resilient, as you just mentioned?
Look, I prefer to give an example. If I have to explain the word interoperability, and sometimes I stumble over my words and I can't even pronounce it, so I prefer giving examples to show the importance of it. We are at this moment in time in the Commission working on the European student card and Erasmus without paper. Now, everybody knows Erasmus. It's around for a very long time, and it has enabled students basically to study abroad in Europe. But there is still a lot of administrative overheads and paperwork that even the students themselves see. So imagine that you can go study abroad and that you don't need to ask for papers in your old university and then transfer them to the new institution, but that your new institution can actually seamlessly ask them digitally to your old university that can certify that you're a student there. Imagine as well then as a student that you are having seamless access in your new university, off campus, on campus, of all the facilities that actually come with that status of a student. And all of that in a integrated mobile experience without a physical card. That's what we are trying to achieve, and I think that is actually what is interoperability about as well, taking it from the perspective of the citizen, in this example, the student.
Yeah, thank you. Looking into this and building on the example you just gave, how do you see the role of SEMIC in that field? And are there specific aspects that SEMIC should look into in order to improve its impact?
So coming from IT, in my career, I have been involved a lot in technical interoperability, making systems talk together. But where SEMIC makes a difference is that technical interoperability by itself is not enough. You actually first need to agree what data means. Data about people, data about businesses, data about diplomas, products, etc. And that is where SEMIC is actually sort of changing the game there, because if you don't agree on what data means between the member states or even beyond the member states, you can do whatever you want at technical level, the systems won't seamlessly integrate. SEMIC, for me, is there sort of the enabler and an accelerator of what a digital society really means. And a digital society should not be frustrating or fragmented. A digital society ideally should actually mean that digital is seamlessly integrated in everyday's life and that it actually enhances the well-being of people, enhances the capability of businesses. And I think there SEMIC has for years already made a significant contribution.
Interesting. And do you see specific aspects in which we should invest further or increase that impact of SEMIC, or really to leverage on what has happened over the past years, and for example with opportunities such as the Interoperable Europe Act, to say, okay, let's increase that impact because digitalization is only increasing in our society?
For sure, I think there is still a lot of margin to increase the collaboration between the member states. And this was also in the presentations this morning, for instance, was also very clear. We are trying to coordinate more from Europe towards the member states, but if we combine the both movements, the member states actually asking for working better together with the drive of the Commission. When those two meet together, I think we can make sort of go the next mile.
With this, I would like to thank you very much for being here today. And yeah, we talk soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.